Hello and welcome to Astromaniac, everybody. This is your host Ahmad Mansoor Ramizy. In this episode, we're going to talk about celestial objects and specifically comets and the Neowise Comet that appeared on July 2020. Stay tuned. Now, for countless centuries and many decades, human beings thought that the sky and the earth, the sun and the moon are all that there is in this universe. However, this assumption was broken down by some people who were actually trying to think a word or two about the universe. Now, the first of these kind of people were the Greeks, specifically the Greek philosophers and astronomers like Ptolemy. Now, Ptolemy introduced to us a geocentric model of the universe. In this geocentric model, we have celestial spheres, where at the center of the universe we have the Earth. And then, if we go back, we see that on the first orbit we have the Moon, and then the Sun, and then Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Now, these were all the planets that were known at the time. However, at the last sphere, there was also another element. There was the sphere of the fixed stars. Now, these ancient astronomers believed that stars were just fixed points on that celestial sphere. Okay guys, now before we jump into the video, please feel free to subscribe to our channel down below. It really does help our channel a lot. Now back to the video. Now, when Copernicus came into being, he replaced the Earth, the geocentric model that was available at the time from the Ptolemy. He replaced that with the Sun, and he placed the Earth on an orbit around the Sun. He also placed the Moon on orbit around the Earth. However, we didn't see any change with the fixed stars. The stars were still fixed on the celestial sphere. It was still there. Now, the job was left down to Thomas Digges. Thomas Digges took the Copernicus model and dissolved the fixed stars sphere. He dissolved that sphere and spread all the stars all around the universe and all around the other stars. Now, by the end of 18th and 19th century, we had cataloged a lot of bizarre objects. Humans didn't know, scientists and astronomers did not exactly know what they were, what their functions and purposes were, but we just cataloged them. For example, nebulae, for example, galaxies. We didn't know galaxies back then, we just thought them to be just clouds of dust and gas back then. And so we had them cataloged and we couldn't figure out what these things were until our modern age of discovery. Now, one of the scientists of the 20th century, which is very famous for his work on galaxies and the expanding universe, is Edwin Hubble. Now, Edwin Hubble not only just discovered that our galaxy is just one galaxy out of the many more millions and billions of other galaxies in the universe, he also proved that these galaxies are residing and expanding in this ever-expanding universe. And now, before we jump into what galaxies are, let's take a closer look at our own home, our planet Earth. Now, a planet is basically a rocky or gaseous body in space that orbits a star. Now, as I said, it can be rocky, such as our planet, the Earth, or it can be gaseous, such as planet Jupiter, which is just a big ball of gas. Now, our sun is just another star. Now, the sun is made up of hydrogen and helium gases, and inside the sun's core, there's an ongoing thermonuclear reaction. Now, this reaction heats up the core to around 10 million degrees Celsius. Now, that's a lot of temperature, and surely there is a lot of pressure as well. Now these pressures and temperatures will cook up this hydrogen and make it fuse together, turning all that hydrogen into helium, and eventually the waste product will also be released, which is energy. And we're not going to go in detail to that as well. But the waste product is energy, heat, and light, which we can feel over here on our planet. Aside from planets and stars, we also have moons. Now, moons are tinier objects that orbit around planets. Now, some planets have one moon, such as ourselves. Some planets have two moons, such as Mars. Some planets have more than 70 to 80 moons, such as Jupiter and Saturn. and some planets does not have any moon at all, such as Mercury and Venus. The moon orbits a planet, and the planet, along with the moon, orbits around the sun. And the star or the sun, along with all of these other tinier and bigger objects on planets and moons, follows a path in a galaxy. Now, a galaxy is just a cluster of all these different types of stars. Now, we'll not go in depth about the different types of stars in this video. However, we're going to take a look at the components of a star system. First things first, dwarf planets. Dwarf planets are just planets that are just either too small or their orbit passes the path of another planet. Next is asteroids. Asteroids are these big, gigantic, and small types of rocks. Some of them are rocky, some of them are metallic, some of them are soft rocks, some of them are harder rocks, and they're free floating in different bands and different belts around the solar system. The famous one being the Asteroid Belt between Mars and Jupiter, and another one is the Kuiper Belt. After Pluto, we have the Kuiper Belt, and all of these objects, specifically these asteroids, can come with different sizes and different shapes. Some of them are as small as just a small and tiny car, and some of them are as big as a whole city. And they're not very friendly, and we have seen what they can do in the past. For example, we think that dinosaurs were extinct and killed by an asteroid that hit 60 or 70 million years ago on the planet. Aside from these big beasts, we also have comets. Comets are pieces of rock and ice floating around the solar system. And these pieces of rock and ice are free floating around the solar system. Sometimes when they get too close to the sun, they melt and they sublimate. And when they sublimate, the water vapor just floats around the comet. However, as the sun acts like a giant fan, a blow fan, it blows away the vapors and makes a trail out of that water vapor that's being evaporated out of the comet. Now, this tail and the comet makes a very beautiful scene, as you might already have seen some pictures and shots. Yeah, you can witness these beautiful objects in the night sky. Sometimes they show up in random intervals. Sometimes they show up at tens of thousands of years. Sometimes they show up at dozens of years and decades later. And because they have an orbit around the sun, just like any other planet, and so they show up from time to time. And one of the important news that we are witnessing nowadays since March 2020 is the Neowise Comment that has just appeared on our sky. Now we're gonna talk about Neowise, but before that, let's zoom out of the solar system. Now, as we mentioned, the solar system is just one star system among the many billions of other star systems in our galaxy alone. The galaxy itself is just one out of the millions and billions of other galaxies in the observable universe. Comparing to that, we are just a very small, tiny speck of dust in this universe. Now, since we have a dedicated video for each and every single one of these other topics I mentioned, I'm not going to go into detail about that, specifically about the contents of the galaxies, like black holes, neutron stars, the different types of stars like blue giants, red giants, dwarf stars. All of these things will be mentioned and will have a separate video of their own. Stay tuned for that, guys. Now back to Neowise Comet. Neowise Comet was first observed on March 2020, and since then it has gained a bit pace because it has completed its orbit around the sun and is now back, and now it's back on its trip towards the outer solar system. It has been calculated that the Neowise Comet will show up again after 6,800 years. So 6,800 years later, we're going to witness this comet again. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but I'm sure that I'm not going to be around to witness this comet again. And speaking of witnessing this comet and observing it, I haven't still got a chance to view this comet. I tried it one time, but then I was blocked by the mountain. I was trying to try it another day, but then I couldn't because we had clouds. I don't know how come we have clouds on summer. I still don't know that. However, if you guys want to check out this cool comet, I'll show you how to do it. Now, if you face the north, you can view this comet at 2 times. You can view this either at sunset or at sunrise. Also, a point of information, now this is before sunrise and after sunset, so remember that, guys. Now, if you guys want to view this comet, you can face north and then turn a little bit to the right towards northeast. Now, this works for sunrise, during sunrise at dawn. However, if you want to view the comet at sundown, you can view this at northwest. However, you have to keep it in mind that the comet is only available to the northern hemisphere. So the southern hemisphere will not be able to take a look at the comet. Now, if you cannot take a look at the comet, maybe there's some visibility problem, or maybe it's being blocked by a distant mountain or something. And if none of those things work, then try a telescope or just use an app that shows where the comet is located right now in the sky. So I'm personally fascinated about this comet, and I hope I get a chance to view this before it loses its brightness. Now, I have read that the highest level of altitude for this comet and this brightest point will be on 23rd of July, which is just a few days from now. So I'm really hoping I would get a chance to see this comet. And if you guys manage to capture an image, then feel free to share it with us. We will surely display it on our next episodes. Alright everybody, that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Please feel free to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and share them with your friends and family. It really does help a lot. And thank you for watching. See you guys in the next episodes.